what motivates you or what wakes you up every morning? How would you answer that if you're asked that question in an interview? And I know you're wondering, what does this job has to do with what motivates me? I mean, my life is a whole lot of things, and this job is just a smaller part of it. So what does a potential employer want to do or has to do with what motivates me? So have you ever been asked this question? How did you answer? If this is a content that you want to watch, I'm sure you're going to stay with me till the end as I take you through why this question is asked, why most interviewees actually find it tricky, and of course, the most important part of it, how to answer it. So let's get into this conversation. If you're here, I believe you came from the other side, the part one of this series, where I am answering some of the most difficult interview questions. On the first video, I started with one tricky question on describe a situation or describe a failure or a time you made a mistake. I believe now you're here. And if you've not watched that first video, please watch it first because this series is going to continue. When I shared that first video, I say that I'm praying for the grace to do at least 5 to 7 videos, just answering different questions. And the reason I didn't want to make this in one video is because it will be very long and it may bore you. Or rather, I wanted just to share as much insights as possible in each and every question. So please, even before you continue with this one, I want you to start with the first one because it was quite interesting. Then you can proceed with this. And of course, there's another one coming in part 3. So let's continue with part 2. So in part 2, I had promised to answer a very tricky question on what motivates you or what wakes you up every morning. How would you answer that if you're asked that question in an interview? And I know you're wondering, what does this job has to do with what motivates me? I mean, my life is a whole lot of things, and this job is just a smaller part of it. So what does a potential employer want to do or has to do with what motivates me? Of course, so many things motivates me, maybe sometimes not even related to the job. So guys, if you're here for the first time, my name is Nelly and I am a career coach, a HR consultant, a job interview coach. I guide professionals like you to building rewarding and fulfilling careers. If you've been following me for some time, you know that I'm very passionate about job seekers, especially if you're between the age of 30 to 45. I relate with most of the problems that you're facing. If you're a returning viewer or a subscriber of this channel, thank you so much. Please continue subscribing, continue sharing this content. So today we are answering this very important question. And every time before I answer a question, an interview question, I want you to understand why this question is asked. Because I know some questions come and candidates ask themselves like, is this also being used to assess me? Why does why does the panel need to know this? Isn't this invading into my privacy? Always before I start an interview, I tell candidates that I'm asking you this question for the purpose of this assessment. Unless there's malice from other panelists, all the questions that are being asked in an interview are supposed to be used for the purpose of that assessment. So have you ever been asked this question? How did you answer? If this is a content that you want to watch, I'm sure you're going to stay with me till the end as I take you through why this question is asked, why most interviewees actually find it tricky, and of course, the most important part of it, how to answer it. So let's get into this conversation. So the first part is why this question is asked. It's always important for you to know why you're being asked a question even before you know how to answer it. So the first reason is asked is actually to assess culture fit. So what drives you as a person, and does it align with the organization mission, culture, work environment, whatever it is in that organization? Does it align with the culture? Whatever drive that you have, what drives you as a person? Is it in line with the mission and the vision of the organization? Is it relatable to the work environment? Because if they're not, you're going to be frustrated in that job. The second reason that you're being asked this question is to see and understand your work ethics. So what keeps you going? Because I promise you, in every job, there are going to be times that it is going to be tough. So what keeps you going even when things are tough? They want to understand your work ethics. What keeps you going when the job gets tough? Because it's gonna get tough anyway. So what keeps you going? The next reason why this question is being asked is for self-awareness. By the way, the panel is very concerned. They want to know whether you even know what motivates you as a person. Because if you don't know what motivates you, how will you be able to deliver on their job? So the panel wants to know do you even know you yourself, do you even know what motivates you? By the way, because some people don't know what motivates them. They're just moving with the wave of life. Story for another day. The next reason why this question is asked is role alignment. What motivates you? Is it aligned with the responsibilities of the job? Will the job responsibilities actually match with what motivates you? Because if it does, it's a win for the employer, and it's also a win for you because you'll enjoy your job, you'll be able to deliver. But if it doesn't, I promise you, it will not. If the job requires a lot of problem solving, very technical, a lot of creativity, a lot of impact, if the job, maybe for instance, if the job is a field oriented job, going out, project management here and there, running in the field, but you're motivated just you just want your space, you're just motivated by your space, it will be tough for you, it will be hard for you to actually succeed in that job. So the key things, just to summarize why this question is asked, is for culture fit, work ethics and values, and of course self-awareness and role alignment. So we are moving along. The next part is to actually digest, or rather is to actually reveal to you guys why candidates find this question tricky. So some of the reasons why you will find this question tricky. Number one, if somebody asks you what motivates you, I know for most people the focus is externally. The focus is on external rewards. Oh, what motivates me is money, promotions. Well, it's good. It's okay to be motivated by extrinsic aspects like money. Even me, money motivates me, by the way. But the reason now you find this question tricky is because you believe that if you answer this question and actually say that money motivates you, it will disadvantage you, which may or may not be the truth. So some of the reason people fear this question is like, no, if I say money motivates me and I'm being told in an interview I should not be talking about money first, how will they look at me? Those two extrinsic rewards. So people fear like, how will I come out? Won't I be judged for saying that money motivates me? The next reason why candidates find this question tricky is because there's a lot of confusion between motivation and ambition. It's quite different, so this leads you actually to giving very vague results like, I'm motivated by success. So your motivation may not necessarily be the same as your ambition. Motivation will ideally be what wakes you up in the morning. For instance, as I said, you're gonna wake up to go to a job every day. There's times that it's going to be tough. So even if this job is tough, what motivates you? Motivation could lead to ambition, because my ambition is to become this and this, to achieve this and this. So my motivation is that I have to achieve that ambition, irrespective of how difficult this job is. I'm gonna wake up. My motivation could be that I want to pay fee for my children. So hata kazi kuwe ngumu aje, I'm going to show up. My motivation is because I want to finish building my house. My motivation is that I want to finish my master's. It's okay. But that may not actually be the same as your ambition. So your ambition is one day maybe leave employment and start your own business. That cannot be the reason why maybe you wake up every day to go to job. So motivation, what is it that motivates you? It could look like something that is short term that you want to achieve with this job, which is okay. So I know sometimes when you explain such things, it becomes like it is selfish, it is personal. So that is some of the reasons why people fear. And another thing is that we fear sounding cliche. Kawaida. Oh, I'm motivated by this and this. I'm motivated by seeing my team do this. You sound like those two sounding cliche or self-centered. Ideally, people fear sounding self-centered. While that truly is what motivates you, but when you say it because the employer wants you to position as a value addition, how will they look like me? How will they look at me rather? When the employer say that I love money, when they say that I'm so selfish. But again, sometimes, when they say that I'm so selfish, how will I look? How will I come out? So when it becomes like your motivation makes you look selfish, so most job seekers, most people are interviewing really feel like this will make me look selfish and refrain from answering this question. So what does this question really assesses? it assesses your fit with the team and company culture. It actually assesses your passion for the type of work that you'll do. And of course, it also assesses, or rather reveals, sustainability, what will keep you inspired. It shows the employer the long term. Oh, this person is inspired by this and this. This person says they want to finish their masters. They've just started their master's degrees, which will go maybe 4 years or 3 years. So I know we are going to stay, or rather retain this person for the next 3 years, because they want to get money to finish their masters. So it shows sustainability. It assesses sustainability. How long are we going to keep you? Because if you tell me my motivation is maybe to for example, to get money to process my visa in the next 6 months and leave the country, oh, so I'll know in the next 6 months you'll be out of my company. It assesses sustainability. Then it also assesses your emotional intelligence. How well do you understand and articulate, rather, what drives you? So how well do you understand and articulate what drives you? So to summarize, what does this question assess? Fit with the team and the company culture. Of course, it assesses your passion for the type of work that you'll do. It also assesses your sustainability. How long will you be retained in that company? And of course, your emotional intelligence, all which are very important for the employer. So moving on to the most awaited part, then how do you answer this question smartly? Step by step. How do you answer this question smartly, uniquely, and of course, just come out as the best candidate? So the most important thing is to start with your core motivator. So what is your core motivator? You need to have a core motivator, like I've given examples. What exactly motivates you, even to look for that job? Be specific and authentic. So for example, if you say that, be honest, by the way, unless the panelist is not as objective, be honest and give a justification. So let me give you an example that I've given so many times, that my motivation to get into this job is, of course, to grow my career in HR, because I want to ultimately end up as a HR consultant, maybe, for example. So this shows that this job is very important to me. It will give me skills that will help me to become a HR consultant someday. This job is very important to me because it will give me the resources that I need, maybe to start my consultancy company. This job is very important to me because it will help me to create the networks that I will need for my consultancy. So there's future, even for the employer. When they look at me, they see that there's future. This person is actually going to stay in this job. So be very specific and be authentic. Don't give very big problem that my motivation is problems. It's okay if your motivation is problem solving, if the job is problem oriented. So you also need to understand what are the key priorities of the job. If you're going to give those examples like solving problems, leading and helping teams, which is okay. You can't say leading and helping teams and the job is not a leadership role. So you need to understand, again, what does the job really requires and what is the priority of the employer at that time. The next step is to explain why it drives you and give personal meaning and context. Like I've given personal context. I've given you many examples. I've told you about maybe getting into a job so that it helps you complete a project. I want this job personal context because I'm currently building my house, and that project is going to take me 6 years. So one of my greatest motivation is that I need something that is stable. It's okay. I need a job that is stable, that actually I will have a stable source of income to finance my construction that will run for 6 years. It gives the employer comfort because for the next 6 years, you need to maybe build, for example, you're going to be here, you're going to be here. So that the aspect of sustainability actually comes in. So you need to give personal and meaningful context. So the big part comes here, connect it to the job, because we also don't want to look selfish. As much as we want to be authentic, we don't want to look selfish. Remember, unemployment is a two-sided engagement where you offer your services and you get paid. So there's an investment in terms of your skills, knowledge, and time, and there's an investment coming in terms of the pay, the learning opportunities that you're given, the development opportunities. So it's a two-way relationship. It can't be one-sided. So connect it to the job. Show how the role, or of course the company, gives you the opportunity to express that motivation. And again, how then will you give it back? So you need to make it two-sided. As I was saying, I need to build my house. I don't know why I like giving this example. I need to build my house. So I'm going to be here for 6 years. I'm going to be here for 4 years. In these 4 years, I'm going to work for you. I'll be getting money as I finance my construction project. It's a win-win. It's a 50-50. The next step when answering this question is you need to add a result or example. So you need to briefly share your story where this motivation actually will lead to impact. So you need to be very specific. So if it's a leadership role, and maybe you'd say that some of your motivation is leading a team. So even previously, you need to show how you successfully led a team. So you need to be very real. So just to recap this point, how then do you answer it smartly step by step? You need to start with your core motivator. What is it that motivates you? We've talked about that. Explain why it drives you. And of course, connect it to the job. And you also want to be sure that you add a result or an example. So guys, having had that step by step on how to answer, and I always emphasize on authenticity, being real and not giving highly sanitized answers. Now, let me share with you a few samples on how you can practically answer this question. Let's take an example. If it was a technical or a problem solving role. So this is how you can answer this question, and I'll read because I've written that example down. I'm motivated by tackling challenges that others find intimidating. For instance, when our system faced challenges, recurring downtime in my previous organization, I led a troubleshooting initiative that reduced outage by 40%. I enjoy turning chaos into clarity. That's what keeps me energized every day. And that's what I bring to this job. I'll ensure that I may not know the problems that your company is currently facing, but I will ensure that I provide solution to those challenges that other people find intimidating and provide them real time. How about that answer? Let me give you another example for a creative or a strategic role. What motivates you? So what motivates me is what motivates me most is creating ideas that makes a measurable difference, that creates impact, that actually gives the company return on investment. In my previous role, one thing I found most exciting was creativity, and of course when it meets strategy. So in my recent job, I led a campaign that doubled our customer engagement by XYZ%. So because I know this role focuses on innovation and user impact, that honestly and perfectly aligns with what drives me. So I'm most driven by creating ideas that makes measurable results. So the last example that I'm giving you for this video, guys, because I need to wind up this video, is on human-centered or a service-oriented role. And I'll read it out because I've written that example. I'm motivated by knowing my work directly improves someone's life. I'm motivated by improving lives. And during community outreach projects, seeing small actions like connecting a family to healthcare, reminds me why I do what I do. So my greatest motivation is to impact lives directly, and actually seeing someone helped and someone come out of a situation better motivates me more. So that human connection and sense of purpose is what fuels me and is what wakes me up every day. So thank you guys for watching. If you've come with me till the end of this video, thank you so much. Now, I said this was a series and we are answering 5 to 7 hardest questions. Of course, I know the grace is sufficient and we'll get to the 7th one. So our next question for this series will be, tell me about a time when you had to adapt to a change quickly in a new environment. So watch it in the next. Thank you and see you in the next series on tell me about a time when you had to change or adapt quickly to a change.